Welcome to the broadcast. My name is John Mayfield. Thank you so much for joining. We are just a minute or two late, so I apologize about that. But again, I want to welcome you to the broadcast. We're going to get started here in just a half a second. So I'm going to get some items pulled up for me right now. I do have another webinar that I'll be doing shortly here, so just want to kind of make sure everybody's aware of that. But I'd like to spend 20 or 30 minutes continuing on with what we've been covering. So we're going to go through and do that right now. So I'm going to jump over here to my computer screen, and we're going to type in, remember I showed you that shortcut, NAR, and in this we did Can Spam Act quiz, or you can do any of those quizzes. You'll find that on Google, and once you find that on Google, then we want to come over and we want to take another quiz. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to close a couple of running applications in the background here, just free up a little space. So I'm at NAR's site. I just realized I did not plug my microphone in, but hopefully it's got good sound coming across with my iPad. So we'll believe that's going to happen. Now, I want to come down and we want to do these federal fax laws today. And there are 10 questions. Now, again, all of this is in your material, and especially some of the questions that have supposedly been seen or people have mentioned specific things about. And so we've tried to recreate and make sure we cover the right information. But I'm going to just type in "do not fax laws" and see if there is something. And again, this is the do not fax rule. This is from the National Association of Realtors, but let's come out here to the FCC. This is the Federal Communications Commission. And let's just take a look and see if we can find some frequently asked questions right here. And we'll actually take a look at some of the information on this first page. So let's do that very quickly, and then we can come back out here and take a look at some additional information. So I'm just moving my screen around as I come back out to visit with you in just a moment. And I want to make sure that the audio's doing well for us here as well. Okay, the first thing we want to look at, I think I jumped on this frequently asked questions about faxes, so we could take a look at those as well. Again, I would kind of read over some of this information, but unsolicited advertisements sent to your fax machine are sometimes called junk faxes. Now, I will tell you this. When we had a gentleman from the testing agency at our real estate commission meeting, I asked him why they were even, asking questions over the fax laws, because no one really uses fax anymore. And he kind of looked at me a little odd and then just kept talking. But I mean, to me, this is one of those areas I don't think we really should have to worry about. Do not call, I totally get. Can Spam Act, I totally get. But you could very well see one question over this. And one of the things that I know they kind of got into regarding the questioning is right here. In all other instances, there must be both an established business relationship between you and the fax sender based on an inquiry, application, or transaction, and the sender must have obtained your fax number in one of the following ways. Okay? So again, let's just kind of make sure we understand this. Businesses may send a fax advertisement to you if you gave them permission. In all other instances, there must be both an established business relationship between you and the fax sender. So you need some type of an established business relationship. And that could be based on an inquiry, application, purchase, or transaction. So that could be someone who listed their house with you. And the sender must have obtained your fax number in one of the following ways. Well, if I had the house listed, did I directly from you within the context of the established business relationship? For example, as part of an application information form or membership renewal form. Probably could also be during when you took the listing. You took the listing application. Did you ask the seller, do you have a fax number? Now again, I don't know why this is being covered because I don't have that many sellers who have a fax number. I mean, for a while that was a big deal and people had it worked right into their phone, their computer, and their phone answering system. But again, is it part of the questioning that you ask them? Okay, that's one of the questions. Number 2, from a directory, advertisement, or website to which you voluntarily agreed to make the number available for public distribution, and the sender has taken reasonable steps to verify that you consented to have the number listed. And then 3, from your own directory, advertisement, or website, unless you've noted on such materials that you do not accept unsolicited fax advertisements. Now, this is what you need to know because this was one of the questions. Fax advertisements sent as part of an established business relationship must include a notice informing you of your right to avoid future faxes and instructions for making an opt-out request. Okay? Also, a fax sender may not send fax ads based on obtaining your fax number in the ways described above without also having an established business relationship with you. So that's kind of a key thing that, both with the CAN-SPAM Act and the Do Not Fax is there's some type of an established business relationship. And there were some dates and numbers with the CAN-SPAM and with the Do Not Call. I would just kind of review and make sure you go over those and you're familiar with those. So opting out, this was again part of the topic area that I've been told was on the exam regarding these types of questions. If the fax you received includes a notice about opting out of future faxes, follow those instructions. The opt-out information must include a cost-free way to submit the opt-out request to the sender, such as a toll-free number, local phone number, website address, or email address. The opt-out contact options must be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So keep that in your memory bank. Number 2, when you send an opt-out request, be sure to identify the telephone number of your fax machine. Okay, so you've got to have that. Senders must honor opt-out requests within the shortest reasonable time, not to exceed 30 days. And the last one here, putting an opt-out notice on a fax ad does not by itself make the fax lawful if the sender doesn't also satisfy the requirements described above. Now, file a complaint. You can do it by phone or by mail. And again, faxes are handled through the Federal Communications Commission. Remember when we talked about CAN-SPAM and Do Not Call, those were through the Federal Trade Commission, okay? And there was that same number if you violated CAN-SPAM or Do Not Call as a business $43,280. I don't know if they'll ask that, but $43,280, okay, for both of those, which was interesting. Okay, let's go over and take our quiz and see how we can do. And if you'll be so kind to allow me, I thought I had my water right here, but it's way over across the room, so I'll just wait here. Okay, now as yesterday, man, I did so poorly. I mean, we only got 6 out of 10 right on the Can Spam Act, and that was really discouraging for me. But I learned more from Can Spam, and I want to really probably go back and take that test again, look at the information again, because as your instructor, I want to be able to know that information very good. But I'm giving a disclaimer. I was on a phone call with a top agent from Florida, coaching them, and we were trying to solve a few things, and I wasn't able to get off to prepare. So I have no idea how I'll do on this test, okay? But you can help me out. I don't have the chat box up, but I'm going to count on you guys helping me out, okay? All right, number 1. A brokerage is planning to send faxes to promote its real estate brokerage services. The brokerage will only send faxes to fax numbers it can obtain from a public source. On each fax, the brokerage will include a toll-free number that recipients can call to opt out of receiving future faxes from the brokerage. Because the brokerage provides an opt-out mechanism and obtains its fax numbers from a public source, its practices are legal. I'm going to say true because remember when we were over here, it said that must have obtained your fax number in one of the following ways. So if it was a public source, you made the number available for public distribution. And the other thing that I saw here is you need a toll-free number or a local phone number. Remember, 24 hours a day. So let's say true. Number 2, a salesperson must obtain written permission from all clients before sending the advertising faxes promoting an upcoming house. Yes, I think that falls under that section here that there was a spot here based on inquiry, application, purchase, or transaction. Remember that? So I think we're okay there. I'm going to say true for number 2. Number 3, the established business relationship exception to the federal faxing rules only lasts for 18 months following a transaction and 3 months following an inquiry. Now, this is the topic that I had a young lady tell me that she just had no idea what the answer was. In fact, that's when I was like, holy cow, you mean they ask you a question about do not fax? And she said, yes. And then I heard it from a couple of other people. And so it was a level 2 question. You remember we're talking about level 1, 2, and 3. It was a level 2 question where basically the person had listed their house and it either expired or sold, and there was a certain length of time in there. How long could they send a fax? And it was up to 18 months. Now, I don't know that other part to that. So I want to say true. I didn't see anything over here about, let's see, we went to the Federal Trade Commission. I did not see anything else about 18 months. And you can see they also have some things on. This is that's on unwanted robocalls and text, but I don't think there's anything here. This was where I was going to go to, and let's just make this a little bigger. And let's do the old Command F and type in 18. I don't see anything. Let's type in 30. Nothing. So that's just pulling up the phone. Oh, when you send that was on the 30 days, but I don't see anything. I think we just went over those, didn't we? Well, let's go with true. I think that's the answer. We'll find out. Electronic advertising faxes that I receive on my computer through a computer modem are still covered by the federal tax laws. True. The only way to stop junk faxes is to call the number on the bottom of the fax. Well, there again, you could draw too much into that. The only way, but I'm going to say true, and we'll see what happens. 6, a toll-free number on the bottom of an advertising fax meets the cost-free opt-out mechanism required on unsolicited advertising faxes. Well, true. Now, we could go back over here. Does it say must include, be sure to identify phone number, senders? It's not the only way, because you could have a website address or an email address. Let's go back and look at that. The only way to stop junk faxes is to call the number. Let's put false, okay? Now, there's one of those, maybe I shouldn't have changed my answer. We'll find out. I participate in multiple listing service, so I have an established business relationship with other participants. That allows me to send faxes of my new listings to all other MLS participants. I'm going to say false. I can fax new listings to a client who has listed his property with me at the fax number contained on the business card he gave to me. I would say true. All faxes must contain the sender's name or the name of the entity on behalf of whom the fax is being sent. True. Federal tax laws pre-exempt my state fax laws, so I only need to comply with federal. I'm going to put false. Now, maybe I shouldn't have changed my answer. I always tell you don't change your answer, right? Should we go back and put that the way it was? I'm seeing some people say I should, so we'll do that and see if leaving your answers alone are correct, okay? So let's go see how well we did. First, we want to go back. It was the only way to stop junk faxes. We had true. I changed it, and remember, John says don't ever change your answers. Now, you're not going to have any true-false questions. These were still a little challenging, but we do have a 50% pass rate. And I'm going to go live here before I hit submit. So if it's really bad, it's the same as yesterday. Okay, we're learning, aren't we? Let's go see what we did wrong here. Well, good job. No, it's not a good job. We need 70% or better. So the first one is correct answer is false. A brokerage is planning to send faxes to promote its real estate brokerage services. The brokerage will only send faxes to fax numbers it can obtain from public source. Now, the correct answer is false. The Telephone Consumer Protection Act of 1991 makes it illegal to send unsolicited advertising facsimiles. An unsolicited advertising facsimile is a fax containing any material advertising the commercial availability or quality of any property, goods, or services, and so forth. To meet the requirement for an express invitation or permission, the brokerage must gain expressed consent from the recipient or have an established business relationship. Okay, I was thinking the wrong way, but we got that wrong, so my apology. Number 2, a salesperson must obtain written permission from all clients before sending them advertising faxes. I said true and it's false. While written permission is certainly adequate and is a good idea if it can be obtained, all that is required by law to send advertising faxes is that the sender has an established business relationship with the recipient. So that was the key there, and I get that. At one time, proposed rules that would have required written permission from the recipient prior to sending, but if you've got a existing business relationship or an established business relationship, boy, the first 3 we missed, didn't we? The established business relationship exemption to the federal faxing rules only lasts for 18 months following a transaction and 3 months. Well, the correct answer is false. The established business relationship exception for faxes has no time limit, so anyone who's ever entered into a transaction with a brokerage or made an inquiry to the brokerage would be covered unless the person has opted out. That's interesting, and I'm glad we really saw that. So let's go over to do not call, because I think this is important for us to make sure. And here I'm going to do Command F, which is searching on that page, and I'm going to type in 180. I know somewhere there is a 180 here, and let's go back over here and look at for businesses. Because we covered the 180, 180 days, and I want to make sure that we're all on the page. There's that 43,280. I'm not having any luck on my Command F. That's how I usually find things on a page. Somewhere we covered the 180 on the do not call list. Well, we could do the old Google search, couldn't we? And just ask, how many days does an established business relationship work for, maybe it was canned spam and not the maybe it was the Canned Spam Act. I know somewhere we saw 180, and I want to make sure that, because if I can't remember it, I'm going to go back over here. I was sure thinking that there was 180 days that we saw, because we had a question, and maybe that was just on the NAR question. And I don't want to spend too much time. Maybe that was the NAR question we saw, but I'm not seeing anything pulling up here. The sender must Well, it must have been over here at Realtor. We'll take a look, but here's what you need to know for this question, and I apologize that I went over there. there's no, we were on number 3, establish business relationship, and it said that for faxes, there's no time limit. So if you've ever entered into a transaction or made an inquiry to the brokerage, you'd be covered under that. So again, that question was the established business relationship exemption to the federal faxing rules only lasts for 18 months following a transaction, 3 months following an inquiry. That is false. There's no exception. I know we saw that somewhere else, and we'll look. Electronic advertising faxes that I receive on my computer through a computer modem are still covered. True. Number 5, the only way to stop junk faxes, well, we changed our answer. I kind of, when I reread that, so false is the correct answer. Number 9, a toll-free number on the bottom of advertising meets. True. Number 7, I participate in MLS, so I have an established business relationship with the other participants. Can I still send faxes? No, that's false. And or it wants to know that you're covered, and that's false. 8, I can fax new listings to a client who has listed his property with me at the fax number contained on the business card. True. 9, all faxes must contain the sender's name, the name of the entity on behalf of whom the fax is being sent. True. And federal tax laws pre-exempt my state fax laws. I only need to comply with federal laws. False. Well, I'm going to take another quiz, and I want to go out here and just look at canned spam real quick, because there is a 180-day that we saw either on canned spam or the do not call. Let's take another quiz here and take a look at the do not call. I think that's under that. Federal fax laws, National Do Not Call Registry. Here we go. A broker can, could call his own expired listings for up to 18 months following the expiration without checking the registry. That's true. And I think that was the one. So is the established business relationship was 18 months. Now here, and that's where we did see this on the do not call. So remember, this answer was a consumer calls my office with a question about a property. How long can I continue to call the consumer with information about other properties? It was 3 months. And then if you had a prior business relationship, it was 18 months. Remember, I pointed that out. I said, that doesn't seem right. This would be what kind of calls are exempt. They were, what kind of calls is not exempt? How often is a business required to scrub the list? I can't remember if that's, what phone numbers are eligible for registration? They were consumer, home, and sell, so both A and B. A former client asks a broker, best friend who's looking for a real estate professional. The former client assures broker X that the friend knows broker X is calling and expects the call. Why does broker X still need to check the do not call registry? I think it was both A and B. Salesperson A for sale record a message, and that was call the capture numbers with the property, was for 3 months, wasn't it? Because they called the office. Which of the below is part of the company's do not call policy? And I think it was this process here. I think I chose payment procedures for fines. We'll see how well we did this time. Well, I got 9 out of 10. I'm doing better. But I did want to make sure that you were aware. The only one we missed was the last one. Oh, payment procedures was the answer. Okay. Well, I'll get 100% next time. But I know that may seem silly to some of you, but I wanted to really make sure we understood that, because that's the question that's been seen. And on the the question that I've heard people see on the do not fax, and again, I can't tell you, I hear these things and they don't tell me word for word, but they kind of described to me, and it's always the 800 number at the bottom with a way to opt out for do not fax. But we just did learn if you've given permission, your name's on there forever until you opt out. So that's interesting to know. But the question that I've seen, what's required, it's that 800 number at the bottom. So I think the do not fax, we've got enough data today that we've gone through. But that's the question people have asked me about. They said they gave me choices, and they said, when they told me it was a toll-free number at the bottom, I said, that's the one, that's the choice you should have taken. But there were also questions on the do not call, and it was about having a listing. It expired. How long could you call them since you had a relationship with them? It's up to 18 months. But it's also interesting on the do not call that, if you gathered phone numbers or had certain people that inquired about a listing, you can call them up for up to 3 months. And remember, I pointed that out. It seemed kind of odd. Why not have the same dates? But 18 months do not call if you have an established business relationship. But if they just call inquiring about a property or an open house, you can get back in touch with them for up to 3 months. Okay. I see that it is 4:35. I'm going to regroup before I go to my next webinar. I'm going to be talking about technology tools and some really interesting things. And so got that starting at 5 for a group out on the West Coast, 3 o'clock their time. So I hope this was helpful. We'll be on again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. At least I'm planning on it. If for some reason I'm not on, don't panic. Remember, you can always go watch the webinars. We've got playlists and things you can watch. So thank you so much, as always, for watching. And I hope everything went okay on your end. I'm sorry I got 60%. But look what happens when you study and you go over it again. I did 90% on canned spam. So you should be real proud of me. If we come back and we retake canned spam and do not fax tomorrow, I bet I'm going to do a lot better than that. So anyway, have a great evening. Keep studying. Hey, my Oklahoma students, they're going to allow you to start taking the test on April 13th. So they're opening back up, and PSI is in Oklahoma. Missouri, they haven't done that yet because we're on a statewide lockdown. So anyway, hopefully that's going to end soon, okay? Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your business, and always feel free to reach out to me if you need help. And if you're just watching us, go on over to globalrealestateschool.com. If you're in another state, check out my real estate exam coach. It can help you pass the real estate exam. When I put my coach's hat on, I do much better than I'm doing right now. So have a great day.